This is Mujib from North Country Kettlebells. Today I'm going to be talking about the Double Kettlebell Squat and a few of the components that go into doing safe and effective Double Kettlebell Squats. Now, the Double Kettlebell Squat is fantastic for adding a core engagement challenge to your squats, and is certainly an advancement to any type of kettlebell squat that you're going to do. We want to look at the squat itself as having all of the same components as any squat. So we're thinking all of the components that go into doing proper kettlebell squats. When doing double kettlebell squats, the first thing to acknowledge is that double weight. So if you have two 25-pound kettlebells, making sure to acknowledge that that is 50 pounds that you're using. So both to prepare yourself for that amount of weight coming out of the hole, but then also to give yourself a little bit of pat on the back to let you know that you are capable of squatting a 50-pound kettlebell, even if it might be a little bit harder to hold on to if you just have one in both hands. As far as some of the technical specifics when doing the double squats, the first thing that I like to say is to overlap the hands when you're performing that double squat. It just really helps to make those two weights feel like one, or to bring those two weights to a center spot. It's very easy to overlook the fact that when you get to the bottom of the squat, those weights are going to try to pull in opposite directions. So by overlapping them in the middle, it's kind of like making a little bit of an A-frame with your arms, and it's just bringing those weights oriented to the center of the body. With that said, for safety's sake, we want to make sure that we're not interlocking the fingers. If I interlock my fingers and those kettlebells get out of my control, then maybe I'm not going to be able to get those fingers unlocked fast enough. So overlapping the hands, not interlocking the fingers. As we're descending into the bottom of that squat, I always want to think about keeping my upper body oriented up, right? So as I'm squatting down, I don't want my chest to go forward. I want to imagine that my upper body is still going up as I'm squatting. So my hips might be going down and back, my whole body might be descending, but I want to secure those kettlebells from rolling off my body by orienting my upper body in an upward manner and not letting my chest and my upper body go forward as I go down. So again, we want to acknowledge the fact that I am squatting twice as much weight that I might be used to. So if I'm using a single arm 35-pound kettlebell squat and that feels challenging enough, when I get two 35-pound kettlebells in each hand, I want to acknowledge that that not only is a 70-pound squat, but it's 35 pounds trying to pull in either direction and 70 pounds total trying to get back to the ground. So as I'm going into that squat, I always want to be thinking already about coming back out of that squat by securing my upper body in that upward orientation. An easy way to think about that is that once those kettlebells are in that rack position, they're essentially on a pedestal, and as I get towards the bottom, I want to keep that pedestal on level, just as if there was a marble on top of that pedestal and I didn't want it to roll forward and fall off of it. So just like anything else, I'm going to keep my elbows underneath those kettlebells. I'm going to keep my upper body engaged as I'm squatting down, and I'm going to maintain that structure as I'm going down so that when I come back up, the entirety of my force and power are right underneath those kettlebells. Same as with everything else, in the beginning, I want to keep my rep counts fairly low. I want to make sure that I have just as much control at the end of my set as I do at the beginning so that I can get the full benefit of that movement. I don't want to try to rush through my last reps. I don't want to feel like my last rep I'm going to fail out of holding those kettlebells. So whatever rep count you need to make that feel like you still have full control and full confidence at the end of that movement, that's the rep count that we're going to choose. Typically between 1 and 6 reps if you're doing a double kettlebell squat. Not many more than 10 reps because I don't necessarily want to challenge my upper body too much to try to control that weight. I really just want to get that weight into a secure position and focus on my squats. As you get advanced, go for it, but as a beginner, try to keep those rep counts pretty low just so that you can maintain that control and practice your movement. Try out the double kettlebell squat and let me know what you think. As always, our main focus is going to be on safety and effectiveness and making sure that we're building confidence and consistency with the movement. This is Mujib from North Country Kettlebells talking about double kettlebell squats.